Alright guys, so let's go ahead and get started with the webinar for today. It is August 29th, 2016. It's Monday. We're finally kind of getting into the tail end of the summer session here, which it hasn't been too bad. I mean, obviously June and July were both really good months, lots of action. August was a little bit on the slower side, but there's been a handful of good plays each day. And most of the plays have been in the morning, but there's usually been one or two trades, as long as you're watching closely, that's set up into the close. And let's start with, MCUR. It had the giant spike up today on the merger, and basically there was two things that right away what I marked pre-market here was the 305, and if you just go back in your daily chart, the reason I marked that level is just it was just a prior resistance level. So the first thing I usually do when we get a big gap like that is I'll just go back and look and say, okay, well, where was previous support and previous resistance? And the closest thing I could see on the one-day chart was 305 and then 435. So 305 was support back in September, August, October 2015. They had one day where it ripped up here, rejected it, and today it did the exact same thing on that merger deal. So sometimes I do short into those levels. Sometimes I do just take like just a few hundred to get in, and then I'll add to a winner. I haven't really been encouraging that because I think that it is better just to wait for a VWAP break to, be sure that you're on the right side of the trade and to get in. Unfortunately for me, I actually I didn't take this one today, and I wish I did, but I wasn't sure how I was going to react on the merger thing, and it was a little foreign to me, so I just gave it the room to breathe. And this is a very, very typical setup of a trade that I would take, where we get a morning spike, and then it would be like the over/under test twice, the VWAP. See how it came up and then down? This is like such a common pattern on the 5-minute chart to see two tests and then in 10 minutes over VWAP, and then once it fails, it's just an all-day fader. And then I remember we also look at my second favorite setup for short is the mid-afternoon VWAP retest and fail, which we saw exactly here, where it comes exactly like a cup and handle, I guess, or a continuation type of pattern, where you get a higher low and then it looks like it wants to break back over VWAP, but like I always say, pretty much 85% of the time, I would say, that you're under VWAP. Like if the stock is up a huge amount in the morning and then it's under VWAP by like 10, 30, 11, most of the time, I'm going to say 85% of the time, the stock will just fade all day. Even if it has like a setup like this, it'll kind of reject it and fade. So a typical way for me to trade that is sometimes I would, if I have a very clear like daily chart resistance level, if I'm pretty confident that 310 is going to be it for the stock, I might take like 500 shares or something small just to start in, with a plan and a stop, 15 cents max, so maybe risk like $75 to start. I don't really recommend doing that, but it's something that I do. That way, if I really, if I'm on the right side of it, I can really nail it, add to the winner, and then add again on the VWAP, test and fail, and then you just have a nice position. What I usually do though is once the morning momentum is kind of died off, I like to cover it up, and then if we get that VWAP retest, get back in on the VWAP fail. So this is a pretty typical chart. The only difference is instead of it just being like a one and done, I just wasn't really sure how that merger was going to sort of react and how, what the difference would be in the tape and the price action in general. So I kind of just let it do its thing, and now we know for next time, obviously every situation is a little different, but on a Monday morning, I was just a little more cautious in this one. And then I got kind of caught up watching some other stocks, so I wasn't quite as focused on it. But just looking at the chart, very typical short setup, one that I would play most of the time. And this is the kind of play where I make most of my money. So MCUR short. I wanted to bring SPU to the attention because this is a really good example of how you can use trader psychology to your advantage. And one thing that I'll tell you guys about this afternoon play is that a big part of what I was thinking on this 950 hold was that, like, if you look at this chart, okay, things were really messy up around 820, and then it kind of held and it looked like it was going to break down, and it was a real short trap in here. This was below VWAP. and it was below VWAP, and it was just around 11 o'clock. This is why it's so important, especially on the short side, to stick to your trade plan. For me, I have zero tolerance for a VWAP reclaim. There's no reason to be holding on to this. There's no reason to be averaging down on it. As soon as it reclaims VWAP, I'm out. So it's basically a hard stop. You know, like I'll sometimes give it a chance to test over or under, but you know, if you see kind of just starts to rip with volume, there's no need to be in it. I did short this in here, and I did cover some. And I did cover the rest out right away on the VWAP reclaim. I saw it coming. It was just, it was holding on way too well. And it's just good to be aware. One, be aware of when something's holding on too well and when you should, be on the defense. And two is just to make sure to pay yourself along the way. So even if you do get caught, you've already locked in some profit. You can end up taking a flat on the trade or a small gain or a small loss, but not a big loss, right? So where I got interested was when I got back from lunch, it was kind of consolidating over 950. I'm looking at this chart and I'm thinking, well, the thing to do is put yourself in the heads, though, of anyone that didn't cover out here or those new shorts that came in anywhere in this area, 850, 860. These guys, especially the ones down here, never really got a chance to cover. I mean, I think that if anyone was really underwater, they were probably hoping, just praying for a lower high here and then probably like an 820 retest so they could like minimize some damage. Some of them might even average down up here to get their average price up to an 820 and then hoping for that dip to get out flat. But what you got to realize is that when you don't get that VWAP retest or that key support, in this case 820, that was the resistance. Usually when you get a big breakout, you'll then get a retest before it breaks higher. So the resistance becomes support. This just, I put myself in the shoes of the shorts and I said, well, this is looking pretty ugly. If you're short, especially if you average down, if this breaks over the key resistance at 895, you're done. As soon as I saw this higher low come in, I thought it looked good, popped some in, and that was pretty much the trade of the afternoon for me. Unfortunately, it just didn't get through 950. Lucky for me, I always sell along the way, scale in, scale out. And I got back in one last time for that 950 break that never really came. So it was, unfortunate it didn't really get through 950, but the good news is we're up 53% into the close today, and it's going to be probably a really good trader again tomorrow. I used actually my Trade Zero account to short this one because it's as you guys know, they have vision clearing, and it's pretty much anything you want you can find for a premium. This one was $43 for 1,000 shares, or 0.042 per share to borrow, which I mean, it's an expensive one because it's high demand. As you can see, like in the daily chart, the stock has been around, and when the stocks get in demand like that, they get more expensive to borrow. But I mean, at the end of the day, $42 for 1,000 shares takes 4 cents to get your money back. It's just the cost of doing business, and it's better than not having them at all because when it finally collapses, you want to be in. It's worth it. So. Just a business expense as far as a trader goes. Looking at the close here, that dip, I guess maybe people were hanging on looking for that dip. Some of them may have covered into it, some maybe not. We're kind of approaching 950 again here. It's a little too late with 2 minutes left in the day for me to bother, but I'm really glad this is closing strong today. The stronger it closes, the better chance we get a little gapper tomorrow and some more good action on it. And as you guys know, as we mentioned earlier, it's got a 1.7 million float, and we've traded over 7.5 million shares today. So very, very active stock. And other than that, I did notice some good action on AREX today, but I didn't get around to trading it. Let's take a quick peek at that one. I'll show you what I was looking at. I believe it was a multiple time frame breakout. Yeah, so 320 on the hourly chart. Really nice sort of higher lows coming in over the last few days. And then today it just kind of picked up some volume. So kind of put it on our radar today. This volume comes in. You look at your hourly chart and you can see, wow, this is a good looking chart over 320. It kind of popped over and it really just never looked back. It's a really typical multi-time frame breakout. Again, the reason why I love these types is because it sort of gets all eyes on it. So intraday traders, day traders like ourselves are playing at for the 320 break, but then there's also the swing traders and investors who are looking at this and thinking that might be a good place to maybe average down in their position or to buy some more. So you can zoom out your chart and you can see that there was a ton of resistance. I mean, like a lot for a long time. Look at this. Back in 2015, 320 was a big level. And then it actually attempted here, look, back in April, we put in a nice continuation pattern. Man, it looked like it wanted to go, and it probably trapped a bunch of swing traders long and then washed out again. And now today we're actually through it. So for tomorrow, maybe we'll keep an eye on if it can retest that 320, maybe 325 area. It'd be interesting to see if that resistance can now become support. For SPU, tomorrow, I'm going to say 920. Look at that. We're going to go through 50 now as shorts cover into the close, it looks like. This is, it's interesting, you know. I know that a lot of people wouldn't want to hold this overnight, and I certainly don't blame them. Former runner. SPU key levels are marked already, 920, 890, 850. These are all, I'm going to leave this chart the way it is. Those are all super key levels. Let's start with 920. We'll start with, I'd like to see it retest 890. I'll tell you why, because we got 50 EMA down there. And if we're going to have one more good squeeze on this, I'd love to see it just kind of come back down, retest the prior resistance that should become support, 50 EMA, trade sideways for a little bit, and then set up for that last push. If not, I got shorts. I'm ready to nail this one if it turns around. AR Reacts, I'd like to keep an eye on it because, again, it's pretty strong. Multi-time frame breakout. Key level of, 3... I guess, sorry, it was 310 was the big resistance throughout the last year. So again, we'll keep an eye on that one, 320, 325, see if it can hold support. Other than that, I think we'll just go with some gappers in the morning, see what's hitting the scanner. And Mamo had a nice push this morning and then finished kind of weak, traded sideways all afternoon. It did some decent volume, I guess, but kind of a weird finish. Anyways, under VWAP, and ultimately on the hourly chart, it still looks to be fairly strong. But we may keep this on radar tomorrow just in case. NYMX, guys, we nailed that 420 level. As I mentioned, if it has a spike, the idea on NYMX was 420. Watch that level over under, see if they can resist. It was prior support, which then in turn should become resistance. Exactly what happened in this one. So if you had the shorts, you nailed that one. Congrats, good job. And other than that, like I said, guys, we'll just watch for the gappers in the morning. And as usual, we'll start streaming at 9 a.m. At 9:15, I'll go over the gappers and the watch list and our trade plans for the morning. And I may just keep REN on back watch all week as well, as I think it's going to start unwinding, okay? So that is it. I hope you guys had a good Monday. I think that taking the break in the afternoon was super key for me. I got away from the screens for about an hour in the afternoon, got an errand done that I wanted to do, and then came back and just managed to nail that SPU to finish the day. And tomorrow, again, SPU is going to be the main watch for me. So right there at the top of the list. All right, guys, have a great night. We will see you tomorrow morning. Cheers.